I was just doing a quick little Google search for a property clock because I feel like I want to clarify that for people. One thing about property cycles is that despite all the uncertainty in the world, buyer behaviour follows a reasonably similar pattern. And supply and demand, of course, is one of the underlying factors that influences buyer behaviour. But just in terms of that property clock, really quickly, what it is a way of a graphical representation of where different markets are according to whether they're peaking, which is 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock
is a peaking market, whether they're declining, which is 3 o'clock, whether they're at the bottom or bottoming out, which is 6 o'clock, or whether they're rising, which is 9 o'clock, and each point in between. And what property forecasters try to do is anticipate where on the clock we actually are. Now, the thing we want people to remember is nobody can pick when a market is going to peak and where it's going to fall. So it's a guesstimate. You can only know when those two things have happened after they've happened and you're actually on the other side of them. So we talk about a property clock and where we are. If some of these markets are moving towards 12 o'clock, we won't actually know when 12 o'clock has happened until we're heading towards 1 o'clock.
Yes, that's true. And then if it's a really tough, a tough falling market, you'll have certain analogies used, such as trying to catch a falling knife. How graphic is that?
Wow.
And, and FOMO turns to FONGO, fear of missing out turns to fear of not getting out. And so it becomes quite dramatic, right? So
we're talking about property here.
Yes, but it's human behavior, right? So,
yeah, it is.
I mean, look, markets peak and trough, right? But they don't actually follow a set pattern. I mean, this property clock is a nice idea, but there's lots of variations within it. And not all markets are actually in sync with each other. And nobody actually knows for sure until it's happened, like Megan was just saying. But there's times when, even at the end of last year, Brisbane was the strongest market in the country. Other markets aren't doing as well. So it's never the same everywhere. But if we sort of just run through the general sort of clock, if you like, what happens? So I don't know, between 9 and 12 o'clock, FOMO, fear of missing out, prices go crazy. And then they get to a point where they sort of get too far, and then you'll start to see negative headlines, and then you'll start to see buyers getting nervous.
And people coming out of the woodwork, banks saying property prices are going to fall, forecasters, the taxi driver, the Uber driver, everything's going to drop. Once you get advice from the Uber driver, it's time to turn off.